So, I think my mic's on, yeah? Okay, yeah. So, while I'm sitting around, I'm just going to work and stream what I'm doing. I'm fixing some issues with the docking menu, or the orbit menu. My to-do list is growing. I've made a list of my parallax layer stuff. But instead, right now, I'm working on this addition to the interface enter trigger. So there is an issue where I can show you the issue really quick. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy, but it's simple. As soon as I start the game, I'm gonna get attacked by all these NPC ships. Let's turn that down. Oh no.
Scanning.
I'll kill these guys. Alright. So, you dock this orbit. I guess you don't dock at a planet, you orbit a planet. Perform a deep scan, and I'll turbo through this.
Plant life detected.
Where it shows the yields. Normally it updates once you've completed the scan, and you leave, go back to space, come back, everything is there except for these. So, having some issues there. So I'm trying to come up with a way to store the hotspots in the interface, whether or not you've performed the deep scan, but only show the values if you have stored the deep scan. So once you enter the interface, currently it clears all the hotspots that have been spawned, just in case you were at a different planet. Updates the buttons, Here it checks to see if there are any hotspots, and if there are, counts how many there are, spawns the hotspot icons, and it'll go through and basically check the type here and add an icon for each one. Now, over here, I copied and pasted. I had another script somewhere else that, I don't even remember what this one was. This part, plus some of the variables here, were set up in the scan operation to do the same thing, to check each hotspot and count how many of each one there are. And since this is basically the same thing, hotspot type is already over here in this loop, and I can actually just attach those values down here, flora found, anomaly found, because it already gets the hotspot type variable up here. I don't need this. I don't need this. Fauna found +1. Flora found +1. And these little values are just for me to keep track of things, so I know what's going on. I can see it. I can read it. And each of those is just going to add up in the loop. And then at the end here, I want to put those values into the interface variables for those 3 yields, but I only want to do that if the deep scan hasn't been run yet. So I need another condition here, and that's going to check an actor variable of the currently selected actor, and it's going to check whether the surface has been scanned or not. And this will either be a 1 or a 0. So if it's a 1, it goes this way, and if it's a 0, it goes this way. I'll do that there. And if it hasn't, it'll just go here. If the surface has been scanned, I want to store all those values in the interface, as well as using this. I think I want to try and use this docking log here to say how many there are and print it out on the log. I might do it that way. I'm debating. I'm going to go back over and check my button. I think there's something else I wanted to copy over. I'm not sure. So it counts all those. Anomaly detected, plays a sound effect. The docking log here. Oh yeah, okay, so that's all in that script that I copied already. So I'll come back over here. What's going on here? Biking down a ski slope. Okay, so in my docking log, right here, I've got all the stuff set up to print out the scan results and update the scanning yield numbers and all that. So I'll actually plop that right here. Oops, didn't mean to double click. And connect that there. So it'll spawn the hotspot icons to count everything, and if the planet has been scanned already, it'll update with all those values. If it hasn't, nothing will happen. I hope. I really hope. Usually I like it when it just works the first time. If it doesn't, everything becomes a big struggly puzzle. Oh my god. Kill you guys first. They keep bumping into each other, which makes them target each other. Oh no. Die.
Scanning.
I'll go back through and delete those guys. Oh, that's right. Not here. Here. Fauna found, flora found, mineral found, and anomalies. I want to make sure I'm spelling them all right. Fauna found. Where anomalies discovered? Oh yeah, that'll say if there's more than one, it'll say anomaly, or anomalies. So anomaly found, flora found, fauna found. Mineral found, anomaly found, flora found, oops, fauna found. So that'll count everything. That should fix it, firing that error. Boom! It's almost 3 in the morning here. Just having a stretch. Oh no! I won't even get to the planet. It'll kill me first. Get away! Gotcha. Man, that was close. Should have deleted them already.
Scanning.
So we'll orbit the planet.
Entering planetary orbit.
Hasn't been scanned yet. Turbo mode that. Should update normally.
Plant life detected.
Let me go back to space. Try that again.
Entering planetary
And there's
orbit.
my values all ready to go. My scan results all complete. I can still... It'll show me down here. That's what I wanted. When you come back to the interface, I wanted it to show you what you had found down here. Found 2 hotspots, 3 more hotspots. And it'll say that even once you've cleared them. I think I'm just going to deactivate the hotspots. I'll figure that out when I get there. It shows the 5 hotspots. Got one more alien to kill. Oh no! Well, I haven't made it so the controls deactivate yet either. I think I put that on my to-do list. Maybe I didn't. Fix controls. Disable when the player is killed. Add game over conditions and transitions. So those will come later. My to-do list is growing. I still got some up here to do. I don't think I'm going to do this one anymore because I'm using the value elsewhere. On purpose. Okay, then I forgot that I was going to talk about the performance meter in the previous stream, and I totally spaced. First thing I want to do is get rid of these extra guys. Bye, 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 bye. I'm going to move you over here. And a helpful tip if you're using 001 Game Creator is to check the performance meter. You can actually figure out what's doing the most nonsense, what's taking up the most timer refreshes or the longest. So the first time you click performance, usually it's going to be empty. I just cleared it. Usually it's empty. It'll start out checking stuff as soon as you go back into the game, and then when you come back over to it, it'll update and show you all this stuff. You'll see a whole buttload of stuff, and every single one of these is arranged by slowest at the top, fastest at the bottom. I believe that's the case, and as you can see, none of these are all 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So the collisions aren't really doing anything. The flight menu, 0.59. I don't exactly know if that's how much time it's taking, or if that's how much time you're losing. I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere, but it does help. You can sort of see that that's the most performance heavy, and the ones at the top right here, my yellow giant has a trigger in it. That's the star, and it's positioning this sun icon. No matter where the player goes, it's positioning this sun icon. I don't see these other... Oh my god, I forgot about him. I don't see the other planets on the list. Quit it. I need to make missiles. So I don't really see the other planets, because if I delete the sun from the center, the next time I restart the game, the highest thing will be the first thing that the player's near. I think it was the station. So I guess it's only showing one of these. And then it shows the interface, the flight menu, minimap dot timer, which is over here on my interface. You can't see it right now. There's a timer there. It's doing a really small interval to position the mouse cursor, and it's got some other stuff in there to move the player dot around. So that's taking a while. 13.71. I don't know what those times mean, but every time you come back to it, it shows you, I think that's how many times the trigger has run. So 2,896 times, checking where to move this guy. And then this one is moving the minimap dot, but the dot on the minimap doesn't have to move very much at all. And you'll notice it's like several triggers from the same actor. What's making this one that much different? Trigger actor condition, trigger actor interval. And then the player ship has some stuff on it, but most of the stuff's pretty slow. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, almost all across the board. And Another thing that you can use is the resource profiler. It's under the tools menu, and that'll just show you the largest files in your game, and it's going to show you every single file. You can sort them by the largest, the smallest. What takes up the least amount of space will be at the bottom. Right now my game is huge because I've just imported these massive animations, and I think I'm going to try and cut down on them just a bit. Make the animations a bit smaller. And then there's this optimize resources option that if you click it, it'll actually go through everything in the project, and if it can make it smaller, or if there's any kind of errors in file size, it'll try its best, it'll correct it. Usually it saves, I think I just did this earlier, but it'll save a little bit of your memory. It'll free up a little bit of memory. It might not do anything for me because I did it earlier, but we shall see. And back in the to-do list, I don't even need that in here anymore. But since I had mentioned it previously, I felt like I kind of had to talk about it at least a little bit. There's also, I can't even, I can't do anything until it's done, even though I did this already. You can't even cancel it. So you gotta wait for that to finish. Excuse me. A couple of these are easier than others. Checking to see if the explosion is within the camera. And you can actually check whether an actor is in the camera field or not. And that's a funky trigger that doesn't always work the way I want it to. So I'm probably going to make sure, I'm just going to do a simple check to see if the player is a certain distance away from the ship that's exploding, which should make that, I don't know, simpler, because it's only checking a number instead of checking the camera bounds. So the scan yield problem, that's been fixed. I just had to do a loop, check how many of each there were, and it was basically copy-pasting the same thing I'm doing when I'm running the scan in the orbit menu. So that's almost done, and it probably didn't really do anything, because I did run it earlier. This particular image is the largest one in the whole project at the moment. It's just a massive scan animation, and it's not going to load right because sometimes it loads up these images and zooms in on them. I don't know why it does that. Windows has this thing, but it's just the scan animation. It's grayscale, or yeah, gray and white mostly. There's some transparency in here, so parts of it are see-through, and you can't use transparency on GIFs and certain images. So in 001 you have to import these and then turn on additive, or sometimes you won't be able to see through it. It's done. I've saved 0 space because I think I did that earlier and it did whatever it's supposed to do. So I don't actually have much more to say on that. Basically there's update resources will update the built-in resources that come with 001, I believe. And then there's the show unused resources tool, which once it goes through everything, it'll actually try and find all the stuff that you're not currently using. And it's wrong. That's why it says not guaranteed. It can be wrong sometimes. Like, you know, all of these are currently, these two are not being used, but these two definitely are. The health font hasn't been used. I don't know if I need it because it's the default. And there's a number of sound effects that I haven't attached to things yet. But then we have stuff like backgrounds that aren't currently part of a map, but they're important. It'll show you stuff that it thinks aren't being used, things that aren't attached to anything yet. This is definitely attached to a weapon. Atmosphere glow used to be attached to some things, so I don't know if it still is, but it'll go through and tell you every single thing and how much space you're wasting, which, thanks. It's weird because a lot of these are being used. Stuff like the 3D planet stuff, they're all being used. some of the backgrounds are being used, some of these aren't, and so you can get a better idea sometimes using that resource profiler to see what's the biggest and what's taking up the most memory, and then generate resources for devices. This is basically, I didn't even mean to click it, but this is basically if you're working on like a mobile game, I believe. I believe it optimizes your graphics for use on mobile. I'm not sure what it's actually doing or what it does to optimize them, but that's what that little function is for. That's just some gibberish. Unnecessary. So once it stops doing that, I've organized all of the, or at least listed out my parallax layers. I'm not going to really fiddle with it. Oh, I crashed 001 by doing that. So I shouldn't have done that. Sometimes that happens. Let's see. 123. .1sp. So that broke my project. I think they're in here. Let's want to look for 123. I'm not sure what sprite that is, but it's going to tell me 123.1sp. Something wrong with it. I don't know which one that is. So I'm going to copy that, delete 123. I'm going to paste this. I'm going to rename it 123. Now I'm going to try to open it again. So I don't know which sprite broke. I'll have two of something somewhere. It was probably one of my larger animations, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I'll find out until I'm testing the game and I find a broken animation somewhere. So when that happens, you can go into the folder, just pick another sprite and rename it. I didn't mean to click on the Optimize Resources button, but it's usually for that purpose. It's for optimizing for mobiles. So it wasn't my scanning animations, wasn't any of these bullets, wasn't my static. It's none of my icons, none of these buttons, none of these buttons. I really do not know what sprite just got replaced. But now something is amiss with these guys. These are supposed to switch off whenever anything is selected.
Scanning.
So it's a mystery to me right now what sprite I just deleted and replaced and all that. I have no idea. I might not even find out for a while. It might be one that I wasn't using at all, which would be very convenient. All of my stuff is working. It's all correct. Let's try the space station.
Docking.
So, it was one of my static animations. Just gotta find my other one. But I don't remember where my static animation is. Shoot. I also don't know what I replaced it with. Those are my backgrounds. I've got all my space backgrounds. My planet scanning. Got my orbit view static. That I'm missing my station view static, so I want to copy paste that. That's a pretty big amount to clear at once, this whole animation. I'll just clear it out, add a new one, image files. That's going to be in my assets animation station view static. This is the size of the station view menu, 368, I believe. Is it? No. Oh yeah, it is. Just kidding. Grab that, import that. I want it to be, I'm gonna takes a minute because they're huge. There we go. No, it's gonna take another minute. There we go. I want to reset everything to 0, 0. Get out of that. We're gonna have it tile on the x-axis. Set it to additive, disable the lights, and like the orbit view static, I believe I've got it set to overlay. Yeah, so I'll set that to overlay. Tile X means that if you resize it on the x-axis, it just duplicates in a row. So you can use it as like a tileable texture in that way and just stretch it. I think that's more performance friendly than a window, but it doesn't have the same function as a window field. So there's my station static. I wonder what graphic I imported or duplicated. There'll be two of something somewhere. So back in my station, the static is trying to find a deleted image, and that's currently, I believe, in one of these docking station. Goodness. Already forgot where it is, so I'm going to check here. I want to find I believe it's UI. Is it not FX then? There it is, station view. I'm just going to squish it down into the middle, which is not what I want. But since it tiles along the x-axis, you can see how it just kind of squishes off to the side there, and you can stretch it as big or small or whatever. Got to reselect it again to grab the other edge and drag it back here. There we go. Now everything's fixed. And the first thing I want to do is add this to a backup archive. Very important to constantly make backups or even duplicate your project and work in a new one so you can save previous versions when you mess up stuff. So now that I've grabbed that static back in here, it should all work again. Ta-da! Only thing that's not working is these little guys are not updating. So whenever you dock, which is going to be in the context overlay, I do need it to update the minimap. Now I gotta make sure that I don't already have that in there. The buttons get updated. So it's not the docking. I believe I need to put it over here. When you click on something, I'll have it re-update the minimap again. So it'll do it twice here. Because when you click on something, it should update and hide those icons, because the icons being spawned on the minimap, those are, where's my spawner? Those are not set to update real time, but they are set to check visibility. I don't even think I need those. I just need to see if currently selected is on. So this was to check if the actor whose dot was being represented on the map, if they had gone outside the bounds of the map. And I'll deal with that at another point too. Really, I just want it to hide those icons whenever you click on an object, and especially when you can see through it, like one of the space stations that has a smaller graphic. The planets, they're usually big enough that they cover up the whole minimap. Like, they cover up all the objects. But for some reason that does not want to hide behind the station. It doesn't want to disappear. These icons should disappear. Now, let me take a look at this. My spawner, if something is not selected, turn the icon on. If something is, turn it off. So I'm confused why that doesn't update and work. See if adding a condition here will make a difference. I want to check to make sure that currently highlighted is nothing. How it goes. Not currently highlighted. Selected. Have a good night, man. So if nothing is selected, spawn. If something is selected, don't respawn. And reposition the overlay just in case. So I don't know if that's going to make a difference. Because every time you update the minimap, I'm pretty sure it updates all the icons, but it shouldn't update anything if something's selected. I don't know if that's going to work. What is that? Where? Yikes. Oh. Huh. So it kind of does the opposite thing that I wanted to do. I think I got those backwards. If it is equal to nothing, show them. If something is selected, hide them. That might be what I was trying to do. I hope. And I also hope I don't get an error from that ship on my map. There we go. No error. Clicking on it. Ah! That's right. It's because it's not still being displayed, but the NPC ship is still trying to check for it. So now they properly disappear. But the ship's trying to check for its minimap icon, which isn't there, so that's another one for the to-do list. Fix NPC ship trying to access minimap icon when icons are hidden. Let's take a lot. Okay, so I need a condition back in this actor. And it's checking, I forget where it's checking that. There we go. And I forgot how to do the visible invisible one. Visible. Just take a peek. No draw. So it shouldn't be checking because its field is still there. It's just set to not visible. That's exactly the condition I was going to put in there. Because if it's invisible, Oh, I know what I can do. Just want to check if currently selected has anything in it. If something is selected, it'll do nothing. If it's nothing, it'll continue. So if there's nothing selected, then it will check. Hopefully that fixes my stupid issue. That's a really dumb one. Alright. Ta-da! No more errors. So if something is selected, it won't try to check anything. If nothing is selected, it doesn't care. Alright.
Docking.
These are starting to come together nicely. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do with the ship meters and all that. This is just so I can keep track of what's happening. And in the original game, a lot of this type of stuff was on a HUD or a little display around the player right in the center. I'm debating whether or not I want to bring that back. It actually shows the shields on the sides and the health bars in between. So you'll watch the shields go down before the health goes down. There wasn't an energy bar, and I was using yellow for fuel, so fuel currently has its own use. The fuel is going to be for traveling between star sectors, and that's another... I'm not going to get to that yet, but that's another not super hard function. I have to actually build an entire interface that's a map, a galaxy map. So there's going to be a map, a sector map, that shows all the stars that you can travel to, and you'll be able to select a star on the map and press the jump button, or autopilot, I believe it's going to be a jump button, so you'll press the button and the ship should rotate and auto jump to that sector. So there's no jump gates. I don't think I'm going to do a jump gate system. I'm just going to do fuel-based system jumping. So you go and buy fuel. You can hail other ships trying to get fuel. I believe I'm going to try and make it so there's no way to run out of fuel, but it'll be harder if you do get low on fuel. You can pay. I want to handle it in the way that some older games did. Like Star Control had like a species that would find you sitting there stranded. In Escape Velocity, you would just have to hail another ship, and then they would come and help you. And there's a couple ways I can do this. Have a merchant ship that's flying around in most sectors, or at least something, some way to get fuel. I'm not sure how to cover all cases yet, but that's it. That's part of the fun, coming up with all these weird things. Coming up with all the features, little details. So that one's done. Fix explosions. Now, the shake screen. There will have to be a condition. I believe what I want it to be the distance between the player and this actor, which will be actor distance, and I want it to be on the map where the actors are. This refers to any map that they're on. I usually just set it to main. Actor 1 will be main, and Actor 2 will be this. I'll make Actor 1 this to main. This to main. So if the distance between this actor and the main actor on the main map is less than or equal to the size of, I don't want the screen resolution, I want the size of the camera, which is in the flight menu. I want the size of that camera divided by 2. So it checks if it's within, from my point in the center of the screen, it's going to check if it's halfway, beyond halfway off the screen, and we'll give it a little offset. Plus 64. So it's a little bit off the screen. If it's less than, it will shake the screen. If not, it'll just do everything else except shake the screen. And that's going to be hard to check without adding another pile of NPC ships. So I'll put one right by him, a couple over here. We'll point this guy towards those guys, point this guy towards that guy. I'll put him over here a little bit, put another one over here, and we'll just test it, and they'll all start firing, flying around, and hopefully they'll shoot each other when they're off screen, and I can test exactly what's happening with my explosion. Get each other. Get each other. Try and stay away from them. It worked. I heard the explosion and the screen didn't shake. is getting closer. So when they're close enough to the bottom of the screen, because it's going by the width of the screen here, so if it's going to be checking the same width out here, or the same height. The height is going to be the same as the width of this screen because it's checking in a square area. So anything outside the camera won't shake the screen, and anything inside the camera will. So that's another step down. I don't want to do game over stuff yet, but when the player gets killed, that's another one that I've already got the condition mostly set up to check if it's the player. And if it is the player, all it's doing is checking to see if this actor is equal to the scripting actor of the player. And if it is, we want to enable disable the actor. And we want to enable and disable spaceflight controls. That'll make it so the player can't move, and this will make it so you can't do anything related to turning or opening menus and moving the menus. And I believe what I'm going to have happen instead is a game over menu that will open. So you'll have a game over menu control scheme, I think, just to reload or retry. Let's test it and let him kill me really quick. And I'm still able to move around, which is kind of weird. Because when you're destroyed, the player should not be able to move, and the controls should not work anymore. However, there's still a timer inside the player checking for those conditions, checking for those key presses. So inside the timer for the player, which happens to be this big gigantic web, might need a condition at the very top here to check if the actor is alive. If it's greater than 0. And that's just because of the way I've set up my controls to be in a timer. So whenever you press the controls, anything checking for those controls will check, or will register that you're pressing them. It doesn't matter if there are scripts for it or not. It'll register that you're pressing those keys. So that's a good thing to keep in mind too. So I can't even move right now because my timer is not working. Because I put the wrong branch on. Now, if the player has health, he'll be able to move. And that definitely disabled my controls, so once my health is 0 or below, it should disable my ability to move around as a ghost, which is what I want, because that's incorrect. I don't want to be able to move around as a ghost. Look at these guys. Come and get me. I like that they kill each other. Oh, I blew them all up. Well, there's one more. 2 more. Yay. Don't you kill him before I have a chance to die. Get me. Why is it so hard to get killed this time? on. There we go. So that's neat. It actually makes me float when I die. If I'm moving, it'll continue moving in the same direction. So that means I don't want that condition inside the timer. I want it outside the timer, so that the timer only runs if these two conditions are met. Factors, health is greater than 0, and if the flight menu has been turned on, which is almost all the time. Oh, I can't even get away from them. Couple more hits, y'all got me. Oh yeah, and the reason that's happening is because... So I'm going to leave that where it is. The reason it's happening is because all of this keeps happening, or this stops happening, and if the player's speed is high, it doesn't slow the speed back down. There's some drag values in here that slow the ship down, and if the ship is dead, it doesn't know to do that. So let's see. I kind of want, I'm going to need that condition again. The actor. I'm just going to say this, after this, HP greater than 0. So I can put it in here. I need to put it between these values here. Is the ship alive? And if it is, go this way. If it's not, don't do any of this stuff. These are all for boosters. These are for capping the speed. These are for the turning variables. And then, like that top, this very top one, where is that coming from? Slowing to a stop. Several of these, I believe, connect directly to this. Let me see. Because I think I want it to fade the parallax colors back out if the ship dies. So I'm actually going to take that condition out of here, because it's checking for it inside the script now. And if I have that condition in the trigger, it will never get inside the script. So kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me, kill me. There we go. Now it slows to a stop I still can't move. I can't do anything. He'll keep shooting at me, and that's kind of strange. I can't remember if I added that to my to-do list. Fix NPC ship attacking when player is dead. So I have to find some kind of, basically a check to see if its target is alive, and if its target's dead, it'll untarget it. So I like the way that these guys work. It's better than I thought it was going to turn out. Cool. So more to the to-do list, and one more thing sort of fixed. Controls disabling when the player is killed has been fixed, and fix attacking when player is dead has been added. So I'm going to grab this line, put it here. The NPC sight cone has been fixed, and I haven't really gotten all the movement behaviors done. I'm about an hour in, just about an hour in. I'll clear out some of these guys. That's probably all I'm going to do for now. It's getting kind of late in the evening. I got some stuff I might be catching up on here at work. Gonna make sure all this stuff is saved. And just one more step, if you haven't checked out screamingbrainstudios.com, go get your free graphics. Everything is public domain CC0. They're totally free. You don't have to pay anything anywhere. There's links to my itch.io page or Open Game Art. It just depends which one you like. You can go to itch.io, make donation there if you like. You can download everything for free here on Open Game Art. Or if you go to my Patreon, you can subscribe for $1 whole. There's a special thanks credit you get for $1. There's a whole pack containing tons and tons of extra stuff, textures and graphics that are only for my patrons. But you can get everything for free, and then there's a bunch of free tutorials. As if I don't mention these every single time I stream, I still think it's a great resource. There's tutorials, a whole list of tools. Most of them are free. All at screamingbrainstudios.com. Thank you for watching. You guys have a good morning, evening, night, whatever it is where you are, and I'll see you next time.